Hey guys, this video is on writing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. This is your purple reference sheet for this topic. If we flip over to the back, you'll see an example of what this type of question looks like. So in example number 1, we are given the equation of a line, and we want to write the equation of a new line that will be perpendicular to our original line, but that is going to pass through this point specifically. So in order to write an equation of a line, we need two pieces of information. If you think back to what we did in circles before break, we also needed two pieces of information, or two ingredients, to write the equation of a circle. For a circle, we needed to know its center and we needed to know its radius. And with those pieces of information, we could write the equation of a circle. For an equation of a line, there are also two ingredients that we need to know or need to find in order to write the equation. The first one is the slope of the line. The second one is the y-intercept. If I can find these two things, I can write the equation of the line. So the front of this goes through the directions and the explanation of what we're about to do now, but we're going to go ahead and dive into example number 1. Notice that I have a 3-column T-chart set up. I would like your problems to always be set up this way. In the first column, we're going to find the slope that we need. In the second column, we're going to find the point that we're going to use. And then the third column, we're going to find the y-intercept. And finally, we'll be able to write the equation. So the first thing that I need to do is read the question and identify whether I want a parallel line or a perpendicular line. In this case, I see that I want a perpendicular line, and so my equation of my perpendicular line, instead of y equals mx plus b, is going to be y equals my perpendicular slope, x plus b. Okay, so I'm going to write that right here above the word perpendicular. So y equals perpendicular slope, x plus b. Now I'm going to start by finding the slope of the line that was given to me. So I'm going to rewrite the equation. 2x minus 5y is equal to 10. Once again, I see that my y term is negative, so I want to start by changing the sign to positive. So I'm going to change the sign of all of the terms in this equation. It's going to become negative 2x plus 5y equals negative 10. Now I can continue solving for y. I want to bring this negative 2x to the other side of my equation, so it's going to become a positive 2x. I'll have 5y equals 2x minus 10. Next, I need to divide all of my terms by 5. So I'll have y equals 2/5 x minus 10 divided by 5 is 2. I'm going to go ahead and identify the slope of this line. The slope of this line is equal to 2/5. But I don't want the same slope. Because I want a line that's perpendicular, I need the perpendicular slope. So my perpendicular slope is what I need to find next. Now, if I'm starting with a positive slope, to get my negative inverse slope, I need it to be negative. And I need to take the reciprocal of the fraction. So 2 over 5 is going to become 5 over 2. Now at this point, I think that it's a good idea to go ahead and multiply those slopes together in your calculator, and just make sure that when you multiply them, they equal negative 1. So I typed that in my calculator here, and if I hit enter, I get negative 1. And that's how I know I got the correct perpendicular slope. I'm going to go ahead and circle this because this is the slope that I'm going to be using for the rest of the problem. Now the point that I'm going to use is the point that's given to me in the problem that my line needs to go through. So my point is 2, 6, and I do think it's helpful to write x, y above the point. Now to find the y-intercept, I'm going to use this equation of a line. Y equals my perpendicular slope, x plus b. And I'm just going to make the substitutions. I'm going to substitute x and y for my point, and I'm going to substitute my perpendicular slope from down here. So y is 6. My perpendicular slope is negative 5 over 2. X is 2. And then I'm going to bring down the plus b. Now I don't want to solve this by hand. I want to go ahead and go to my calculator and use nsolve. So remember, to get to nsolve, you can go to the catalog button, which is the one that looks like a book right here above my finger. So I'm going to click on that. nsolve is highlighted already, so I'm going to hit enter. Now I'm going to go ahead and type in this equation exactly the way it appears on my paper. I have 6 equals negative 5 divided by 2 times 2 plus b. Now we don't want to forget that we have to tell the calculator what we're solving for, so we're going to do comma b, because b is the variable we want to solve for. And when we hit enter, we find that b is equal to 11. So I'm going to write that on my paper. B is equal to 11. This was the second piece of information that I needed in order to write my equation of the line. So I have the two ingredients. I have the slope and I have the y-intercept. I'm ready to write the equation. So I'm going to do that here in the middle column. I'm just going to kind of divide that. I'm going to write my equation again, y equals perpendicular slope x plus b, just so it's really easy to see what I need to substitute. I'm only substituting these two pieces of information. So I'll have y equals negative 5 halves x plus 11, and I'm going to box that in as my final answer. All right, let's take a look at example number 2. In example number 2, I want to write the equation of a line that is parallel to the given equation, and that passes through the point 4, negative 8. So because I want a slope that's parallel, this is the equation that I'm going to use. Y equals the parallel slope x plus b. And so I'm going to go ahead and write that above parallel. Y equals parallel slope x plus b. Okay, from here it's the same procedure. I'm going to start by finding the slope of the line that was given to me. I have 3x plus 8y equals 12. My y term is positive, so I leave it alone. I'm going to move my positive 3x to the other side of my equation. I'll have 8y equals negative 3x plus 12, and then I'm going to divide through by 8. All of my terms. Reducing, I get y equals negative 3 over 8x plus, and then I can reduce this in my calculator. 12 divided by 8 reduces to 3 divided by 2. So there's my equation in slope-intercept form, and negative 3 over 8 is my slope. Now what I want is my parallel slope. I know parallel slopes have the same, parallel lines have the same slope. So if my original slope is negative 3 over 8, my parallel slope is negative 3 over 8 as well. And that's the slope I'll be using in the rest of the problem. My point that was given to me is 4, negative 8. Again, I'm going to label that xy. And now I need to find my y-intercept. So I'm going to write my equation from up here. Y equals parallel slope x plus b. I'm going to make my substitutions. Y is negative 8. My parallel slope is negative 3 over 8. My x value is 4. I'm going to bring down the plus b. In my calculator, I'm going to again use nsolve. So I'm going to go to the catalog button and hit enter, and then type in my equation. Negative 8 equals negative 3 divided by 8 times 4 plus b, and then comma b to solve for b, and I hit enter, and I get that my y-intercept b is negative 6.5. So b is equal to negative 6.5. This is a fraction that ends. If I were to get a repeating fraction here, I could go ahead and turn that into a fraction. To do that, I go to Menu, option number 2 for number, and then option number 2 for approximate to fraction. If I hit enter, I will get that the fraction is negative 13 over 2. In this case, I can use the decimal or the fraction. Okay. I'm going to circle that. That's the second piece of information that I need, and I'm ready to write my equation. So I have y equals my parallel slope x plus b, and then I'm going to make my substitutions. So y equals, my parallel slope is -3/8, x, and then my y-intercept is -6.5. This is my equation. Box it in, and we're done.